like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm sorry. I'd like to say thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. I take accountability. I pray for them continuously. I pray for the district attorney's office.
Things I've been accused of, I know that I haven't done those things. I've only dealt with grown women. Nothing was forced. Nothing was coerced.
Your face! Show your face, please, with sugar on top!
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Hookah Anonymous _. You guys been telling us to create one for the longest, so we recently created a community where we will upload videos that we can't share on YouTube due to their guidelines, but we'll also be dropping the latest to there first, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't find anywhere else on our socials. So make sure you become a member, and after you do that, head over to our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _ and follow us there. Now, without further ado, let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, it seems like these days the justice system have two sides to it, and as much as I hate to say it, if you're on the wrong side of it, you're looking to receive unfair sentences that others may get a slap on the wrist for. This has always been obvious, but it seems like the more we see some of our own get put into jail for the same thing we see others get leniency for, it's beginning to be more evident. It goes all the way back to when kids in suburban neighborhoods may get caught with having a fake ID, and usually they'll just get told to throw it out or get it taken from them for trying to use it to get in a bar or a lounge, opposed to going into more urban neighborhoods where getting caught with a fake ID is typically an automatic 1 to 3 year sentence prison term. Right is right and wrong is wrong, but if you're going to hold people accountable for crimes, let's make sure that it apply to everyone and let's not be selective. Now, Atlanta rapper Cashout just received a life sentence in the court of law on top of 70 plus more years for a separate charge, and his mother got 30 years along with him. John Michael Gibson, aka Cashout, was found guilty on July 18, 2025 of charges including aggravated sodomy, and violating the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act for leading a prostitution enterprise. Now, I do understand the severity of these charges, but let me just say this, y'all. Not one person was unalive in this situation, according to the report, and to give someone life as if they took one, but yet you have guys that take lives getting less time than life. Not to mention, I've always spoken on trafficking laws because they are contradictory based on how the law handles it, in the sense that it's illegal in one part of the world, but then in another part, they have brothels where they basically pimp out women. So here's the question. Is it considered wrong because you disagree with women using their body for money, or is it considered wrong unless you can profit off it? I could go to Vegas and legally pay for women of my choice, but I can't go up the block and solicit women myself because it's quote unquote against the law. So ask yourself, if pimps get in trouble for having women, what do people who run brothels consider that? Pimps, right? Sound the same to me. Anyway, let's get into the story of Cashout and why he just received life in prison, with his mother having basically the same thing. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button so we can get this video into the algorithm, and if you not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it.
I want to thank the jurors for the amount of time that they put in to judge this trial. This time being on this trial, I was able to see how the jurors are put in a tough position of, sit there and judge someone's life. And, it's a hard decision, and I feel like they made the wrong judgment.
Born on August 15th, 1990 in Columbus, Georgia, Cashout was always determined to make something out of himself, and music was his outlet. He spent most of his days in the streets, but after getting into trouble, he decided to turn his life around back in 2009 after he was acquitted of a firearm charge in Clayton County, Georgia. He would go on to say that he felt he was given a second chance at life, which made him turn to music as a way out of the streets. He began making music and taking it serious, signing to an independent record label called Bases Loaded. Under this label is where he would release a song called Cashout. It would crush the streets and put his name out there for fans to get familiar with, and the song would blow him up, giving him the recognition he deserved. So much to the point where L.A. Reid, who was the head of Epic Records at the time, and knew it was a hit right away. He got in contact with Cashout and scheduled a meeting to sign him to his label. During their meeting, Cashout would play another song for Reid, and that pretty much solidified the deal for him, convincing Reid to then sign him to Epic Records right then and there, knowing that he had superstar potential. By the year 2012, Cashout will re-release the Cashin' Out song as a single on a bigger platform, now under Epic Records label, and it peaked at number 36 on the Billboard Hot 100 and also received platinum certification by the RIAA. By 2014, Cashout was out of his last label deal with Epic, but will find more success after signing to E1 Music Group, where he released his single She Twerkin' in February of 2014. Cashout will reach his second chart entry on Billboard after the song debuted at number 100 on the Hot 100 chart. Cashout will put more projects out and singles, but those seem to be the most highlight of his career as it gained him the most success music-wise when it came to his releases. I say music-wise because Cashout also had a hand in acting as he played in movies such as Uncut Gems, which debuted in 2019 with him alongside Adam Sandler and Lakeith Stanfield, plus more. Cashout always did what he had to do, but it seemed like trouble will always follow him while he was on his path to success. A lot of times artists may fall short due to financial reasons or just not being able to stay out the streets. In this case, Cashout will be arrested on September 20th, 2021, along with his mother and cousin, facing a slew of charges, including aggravated assault and battery. His mother, Linda Smith, who went by the alias Mama Cashout, was sentenced to 30 years in prison for single account of sex trafficking, and his cousin Tyrone Taylor was also convicted of sex trafficking and aggravated sodomy during trial. It said that these charges came in as of June of 2023, where DA Fannie Willis filed charges against Cashout along with 5 other individuals in a 41-count indictment. The charges included allegations such as aggravated sodomy, human trafficking, and holding victims at gunpoint. Gibson himself was indicted on 13 of those counts of and sex trafficking. Prosecutors claim Gibson used his celebrity status and social media presence to convince women to do exactly what he wanted them to do. Everything allegedly took place in a hotel room near Fulton Industrial Boulevard in a residence in Carroll Heights, a neighborhood located in Atlanta. Prosecutors also stated that Cashout, his mother, and cousin Tyrone will use their record label Perez Music Group LLC as a front for sex trafficking and racketeering activities. On July 18, 2025, Cashout along with his mother and cousin were all convicted of different charges relating to the 2023 indictment. After finding out he was guilty, Cashout will let the courts know that he feels they were making a big mistake and let them know that he was innocent. Cashout will also let it be known that the women were all of age and had given consent to anything that went down, and whatever was done to them, suggesting some witnesses who testified against him were bullied into cooperating with law enforcement. Fast forward to July 21st, 2025, Cashout was hit with 2 counts of life imprisonment for and another 70 years for racketeering, sex trafficking, firearm possession, and other offenses. His cousin was sentenced to life in prison as well for aggravated and an additional 60 years for sex trafficking, assault, false imprisonment, and drug possession. Gibson's mother was convicted and sentenced to 20 years in prison for racketeering and 10 plus years on top of that for sex trafficking.
On count 1, violation of the Georgia RICO Act, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 10. On count 10, rape, life in confinement. Run consecutive with count 1.
Now, many are confused as to why his mother was included in this and thought she played a part in the initial crime, but this ain't the case. According to reports, Cashout stated that some of the girls that were labeled victims were bullied into testifying against him. So after complaining and nothing was being done, he would try to take matters into his own hands, and he tried to silence women testifying against him with the help of his mother, allegedly. Prosecutors say they were accused of telling the women they will receive financial rewards and increased positions of power in the company in return. And if you remember in the Diddy trial, this is the same thing they claim was happening within his case as well. One witness reported that she was only given food if she performed sex acts for money, according to the victims testifying against Cashout. Now, there was no physical evidence stating that his mom had anything to do with it. To be honest with you, it could be one of those situations where they want his mother to testify or say something about what was going on, and she denied, so they probably wanted to teach her a lesson. So maybe they told her what they could charge her with and tried to scare her, but she didn't get scared and she pulled through with it. Didn't say anything of what she may have known, so they hit her with charges or whatever they could hit her with due to her not cooperating. Now, when it comes to this case, y'all, all I'm gonna say is everything happened as quick as it can. They found him guilty very fast, but nowhere have I seen where it's real evident proof of the allegations against him. I'm not making no excuses because these are some serious charges, but what I am saying is, fellas, you have to be very careful these days. The women involved in these situations, a lot of times they flip against the guys because they don't want to get in trouble. So it's easier to convince the women and try to scare them with a whole bunch of time that they really probably wasn't going to get in the beginning, but they want them to flip against the guy and tell them everything they know, and that's all they really need. And I'm not making no excuses because these are some very serious charges, but what I am saying is we've seen this countless of times. And fellas, you have to be very careful these days. The law ain't playing fair, and I say that because it's some of the smallest things you don't know that could get you caught up, and you won't realize the law and how you can be penalized until it's too late. And as they say, ignorance is no excuse for the law, meaning whether you was aware of it or not, you could still be penalized for it. Perfect example, did you know flying a girl out to have intercourse with her can be a form of sex trafficking if she decides to press the issue? It's small technicalities like that can have you behind bars. Meanwhile, you just thought you was flying her out to have a good time. Not to mention, like I said earlier, they have brothels all over the world in certain areas. So when it comes to women selling their bodies, do you really care that they're selling their bodies for money, or are they more concerned that they aren't doing the quote-unquote proper way and paying taxes and actually giving the government up money for it? Anyway, y'all jump in the comments, let me know what y'all think about this. How do you feel about Cashout getting a life sentence plus 70 years and his mother getting 30 years for the crime that they was convicted for? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. And I'm out.